Real Madrid. Real Madrid fans have this calm, almost smug confidence that comes from seeing the impossible happen so many times. They're not the loudest crowd for 90 minutes straight, but when it matters, they turn the Bernabeu into a pressure cooker. You'll find them all over the world, too, from old men in Madrid who still remember Di Stefano, to kids who never saw Zidane play live but will argue he's the best ever. What's funny is how they genuinely expect to win every single year, and most seasons they aren't wrong. Watching them is like watching someone play career mode on easy and pretending it's a struggle. It doesn't matter if the team looks finished by April, they'll still somehow lift the trophy in May. And if you call it luck, they'll list off decades of proof that it's just what Madrid does. Supporting Real isn't about hope. It's about expecting football to bend to your will, and then acting like you're surprised when it actually happens. FC Barcelona. Barcelona fans turned football into a kind of philosophy lecture. But the crazy thing is, it works. They won't just talk about goals or trophies. They'll tell you about build-up play, triangles, and why passing backwards is actually beautiful. It comes from years of Cruyff, Guardiola, and that obsession with doing things the right way, even if it means overcomplicating a simple counterattack. They get genuinely excited about some 17-year-old academy kid making a perfect first touch in preseason, and for a while it feels like the next Messi storyline is loading. And when the team wins ugly, they're still happy, but you can sense they'd have preferred it with a few extra passes. The pride runs deep, too, because it's tied to Catalan identity, the city, and that sense that Barca should stand for more than just football. Sometimes it feels stubborn, sometimes romantic, but it's what keeps them loyal, even in the messy seasons when everything seems to fall apart. Manchester United. Manchester United fans are in that weird space where history feels too recent to call history. The club dominated for so long under Ferguson that a whole generation grew up thinking last-minute winners were normal, and finishing outside the top four was basically the end of the world. What keeps it interesting now is how they mix frustration with hope, usually in the same breath. They'll roast the team on Sunday, but by Wednesday they're convinced a comeback is brewing. It's become part of the club's personality to live in chaos, but still believe something special is around the corner. And the fan base itself is everywhere. It doesn't matter where they're from. What links them all is the mix of sarcasm, stubborn loyalty, and this unshakable idea that somehow, eventually, United will be back on top, even if it takes another decade. Liverpool fans treat supporting the club like an emotional roller coaster that wouldn't be fun if it didn't have the dips. There's this almost theatrical love for the idea of glorious failure just before a big comeback. And when they do win, it feels like a payoff for all the heartbreak. What really stands out is how they build myths around moments. Istanbul wasn't just a final, it's a story every fan knows by heart. And even when the team's having a rough patch, they don't just vanish. They'll be sarcastic, sure, but they'll still show up, still sing, and still hope. Klopp fit into that perfectly because he loved a bit of chaos too. And suddenly it all clicked. The loyalty isn't forced. It's built on generations of sticking around when it was easier not to. Juventus fans don't ask for breathtaking football. They just ask for winning, and lots of it. There's a kind of quiet ruthlessness in the way they follow the team. 1-0 victories aren't boring. They're proof that things went exactly to plan. And then you had that moment when Ronaldo joined, and suddenly every Juve game felt like an event. The global fan base exploded overnight, and while some older fans grumbled about tourists, secretly they didn't mind the spotlight. The sense of pride is massive. They'll casually drop how many league titles they've won, even if half the room stopped listening. What's funny is they know the football isn't always beautiful, but they genuinely don't care. For them, the only thing that matters is that black and white shirts finish the season holding something shiny. Paris Saint-Germain PSG fans have grown into this wild mix of old-school fans who remember the club before the money and a new wave that turned up when Neymar and Mbappe made PSG the place to be. And somehow, it all works. You'll see hardcore fans behind the goal with drums and smoke, and not far away, someone in a spotless fashion collab jersey filming everything for social media. What really sums them up is how they handle those painful European nights, like that FIFA Club World Cup 3-0 loss to Chelsea. Instead of hiding, the fans are back, already talking about how it'll be different next time. It's that stubborn hope mixed with Parisian pride that keeps the whole thing alive. They know people see PSG as the team that spends big and still finds a way to crash out, but they keep turning up loud anyway. And even when it all goes wrong again, there's always this belief that the next season, the next big signing, or the next big night will finally change everything. Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich fans have this calm confidence that comes from knowing the league is usually wrapped up by the middle of the season anyway. It's almost like being spoiled, but they've made it look normal. What makes it interesting is they don't see it as arrogance. It's just the standard they expect. You watch them fill the Allianz Arena week in, week out, and it's loud, organized, and feels like a festival built around inevitability. And yeah, other fans joke about them farming the Bundesliga, but Bayern supporters shrug it off because deep down, they know it's true. There's also a weird mix of old-school respect for club history and this modern pride in being so ridiculously efficient. Thus can talk about Müller scoring in 2014 and then switch to bragging about a youth player breaking through last weekend. For them, success isn't just trophies. It's an entire mindset where anything less feels like a crisis. And what's funny is even in a so-called crisis, they usually end up champions anyway. Arsenal fans probably have the most complicated relationship with hope you'll ever see. They talk themselves into believing every preseason that this is finally the year it all clicks, and by November, half of them are writing threads about why it's all falling apart. But that cycle is half the fun. The Emirates crowd is a mix of diehards who still miss Highbury, young fans raised on social media, and everyone in between. What really keeps it special is the humor. They've perfected the art of laughing at their own pain. And when the team's playing beautiful football, it feels like the whole place forgets the years of heartbreak. There's also this stubborn loyalty, like no matter how bad it gets, leaving isn't an option. Even when rivals mock them, Arsenal fans stay loud because deep down, the dream of seeing their team play perfect football and actually win something big never fully dies. Chelsea fans turned banter into a coping mechanism, but in a weird way, it became part of the club's identity. The rise really started with the Abramovich era, and overnight, Stamford Bridge went from being a solid London club to a team everyone in Europe had to take seriously. The fan base adapted quickly. They're blunt, sarcastic, and have zero patience for long-term rebuild talk if the results aren't showing up. And after the recent years of chaos, you'd think they'd calm down, but somehow the drama keeps them entertained. You'll see fans online both hyping up the latest big signing and complaining about the same player 3 weeks later. It's part loyalty and part stress relief. What makes them interesting is that they don't even pretend to be romantic about football. For Chelsea fans, it's simple. Winning matters, and if you're not winning, you fix it, even if it means changing everything mid-season. And yeah, the trophies help back it up. AC Milan fans carry this quiet pride that comes from knowing what real greatness feels like. Even during the rough years, they never fully let go of that feeling that Milan belongs at the top. You see it in the San Siro on European nights, the banners, the choreography, the sense that something special might actually happen. It's not just nostalgia for the days of Kaká and Maldini. It's a genuine belief that the club's DNA is built for big moments. What makes them unique is how they balance elegance and grit. They'll hype up a perfect Pirlo pass from a decade ago, then turn around and celebrate a scrappy goal off someone's knee. And when the team finally started winning again, it wasn't just joy. It felt like a return to the natural order of things. For Milan fans, success isn't a surprise. It's more like something that had been missing and finally came back home. Borussia Dortmund fans live for the noise. The first thing anyone thinks of is the yellow wall, and it's really as intense as it looks. Thousands standing, chanting, jumping week after week, turning even a regular league game into an event. But it's more than just choreography. The fan base has this raw loyalty, knowing they'll never match Bayern's trophy count but still showing up like it doesn't matter. There's a stubborn pride in supporting a club that builds stars and watches them leave, then starts all over again. And somehow, the heartbreak of seeing players move on doesn't kill the vibe. It just resets the dream for the next kid breaking through. It's the ultimate football romantic energy mixed with a bit of self-deprecating humor. They know what they are, they know what they're not, and that honesty is what makes Dortmund fans genuinely likable, even to neutrals. Boca Juniors. Boca Juniors fans make football feel like something bigger than a sport. La Bombonera shakes, literally, when they jump and sing, and it's impossible to watch without getting chills. The devotion is total, and rivalries become family traditions. There's also this raw, slightly chaotic passion. It's not polished or corporate, it's noisy, messy, and emotional in the best way. Even if the team's having a nightmare season, the fans still show up in ridiculous numbers. And when Boca scores, the celebrations look and sound like the entire stadium might fall apart. What makes it powerful is that it doesn't feel forced. It's not about social media clips or flashy branding. It's just real love for the shirt passed down through generations.